Hello everyone, and welcome back to Goblins Droblin. I am your host, the titular Goblins, and today we're going to be starting up a new series on the channel, one I like to dub as Re-Costume. Now basically the shtick of this series is that I'm going to be taking a superhero, one per video, we only have so much time, and I'm going to be redesigning their costume, sometimes with a sort of a theme involved, sometimes just something that might make a little more sense to me, but the point is, hero, new costume. Let's keep it simple. Now, obviously there's a lot of characters that I can be choosing from right now, but I was thinking about it, and I think I'm gonna go with one that probably isn't the one you were expecting. Today's re-costume hero is Aizawa, or Eraserhead, from My Hero Academia. Now, if you don't know what My Hero Academia is, then you obviously won't know what this character is, but basically it's a Japanese comic about kids going to superhero school in a world where 80% of the population have superpowers, and Aizawa's power is that he can look at you and turn off your powers, which is very cool, but even on top of that, he's got this, like, ninja thing going on, a lot of tricks, a lot of martial arts. He's very cool on top of his powers, which I always really like in a character. Anyway, let's get down to the re-costume. I drew up this little standard Aizawa picture just so we can get a reference. And now, let's begin with the fun. Now, the first thing you might notice about Aizawa is that he doesn't wear a costume so much as he wears a sweatsuit, and that kind of goes into his personality. He's very logic-based, so he doesn't really feel the need for a flashy costume, I guess. His only real accessory is his little utility belt there, which you can barely see, and the strips of cloth he wears around his neck, which are actually his weapons, which is very cool. I need to be really careful not to just go off about how cool this character is. But anyway, so today's shtick is that basically I thought, what if he wore a more traditional superhero sort of costume, something a little bit flashier. The first thing I did is I dealt with the hair situation, because for someone who's very logic-based and constantly getting into fights, it doesn't really make sense that he has such long hair. It kind of goes into his bedraggled look, but doesn't make sense. So I put a cowl over him there, over his hair, and I kind of made his goggles, which you don't see in the original picture, but you saw in the reference earlier. He has these goggles that keeps people from seeing his eyes, so you can't tell if he's blocking your power or not. I made those more of a permanent fixture, and then I gave him these kind of glove gauntlets rather than just long sleeves. Covers up his hands, always useful for fighters. I gave him a little kind of you'll see in a moment, it's almost like a kimono ninja-esque kind of shirt. Kept the pants more or less the same. It's kind of baggy. And then some boots. Had to go off the sketch a little bit on this. He was looking kind of stumpy. But anyway. So he's basically, he's kind of got a whole bodysuit on underneath, and then he's got his vest shirt thing on top of it. You can see he's still got his utility belt there. I'm going to leave that basically the same. It's a very good idea, and it makes sense, carrying a bunch of stuff in there. But I also kind of gave him this sash bandolier. There's the break in the shirt. And rather than keeping his bandages wrapped around his neck, I gave him these almost Spider-Man web shooter cartridges. I figured he keeps them in there, and then he just fires them out and does what he needs to do with them. It'd make it really much harder for people to choke him out with his own weapons, which is good. And they're attached to the back of his glove, just point and shoot, really. And then... Oh, in one of the stories, he's shown to have this little kind of ninja sword knife thing. And it's not really a part of his costume, but I think it's really cool because it's a sword, and I'm a nerd. So I made it more of a standout part of his costume here. Gotta figure out the feet a little bit. Hang on. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's move on. Anyway. And then I figured on his bandolier here, he kind of carries extra cartridges so that if his bandages start getting ripped off or taken, he can just take out a new cartridge and slap it on his gauntlets there. He's very high-tech, actually, now that I look at him in a way, compared to his regular costume, at least. Got him a little scabbard on the side there, as well as his pouch. Alright. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. As far as his color scheme, though, I take a lot from kind of the original color scheme. I don't go too far off of that. His bodysuit is the same kind of gray-black as his sweatsuit. And then oh yeah, and then handle his blade. Oop. There we go. Make it shiny and sharp. Haha. Alright. I'll go with that. I fill in his goggles that same kind of yellowish gold color that he has on him. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of spread this color out a little bit more than it is in the original design. Just because it's already there. And, you know, it's kind of out of place on his original costume. But it makes sense. Again, he's not a flashy person usually. But I make him so. And then I just took the color I used for the bandages and I basically used them for these cartridges. They're just steel, you know? Maybe a hard plastic, actually. And then get his little pouchies full of antibiotics and matches and stuff, just useful stuff. So all his like leathery patches are kind of that same color as his goggles. And then I just pulled this dark purple out of the void, and I used it for the rest of them because it's still a good dark, you know, stealthy color. But it adds a little bit more. It adds a little bit of a two-tone Kirby-esque more vibe. Throw on his boots. And that's pretty much it for colors. I just gotta do a little bit of fixing up and shading here. Overall, it's a pretty good design, I think. I've given it a lot of flack, but I do really like Aizawa's design, the very simplicity of it. But as a big-time superhero nerd, I like these dumb, over-militarized type outfits like I've made here. And, I don't know, I think maybe he should slap this on every once in a while to cater to the media that he hates. Maybe there's a reason this costume is the way it is. But, hey, we've done something here. Get a little bit more shading done. Alright. So, for those of you who watched this video despite having no idea what the character or the comic is, thanks for watching anyway. But I gotta say, you should really be spending your time going and watching or reading My Hero Academia, because it is very good. The combination of, you know, Japanese manga-style storytelling and then Western-style superhero tone, it comes together very well. It's a very good marriage of the Eastern and Western sensibilities. You know? This is the first video I'm making where I'm talking after the drawing. I hope I've done a good enough job kind of keeping you entertained, because now that we've gotten past the design point, it's hard to say anything. Oh, this is, for those of you who are also getting into drawing or are drawers, artists, whatever the word is, this is kind of a cool trick. If you have a really dark color on one of your things, just, don't worry so much about shading, but instead take a real light color and kind of highlight all your creases and stuff with a very light color. It makes a very cool effect. You can see in the picture I used of Aizawa from the actual show, they use that effect, and I'm kind of using it here. And then I'm just doing pretty simple shell highlighting. That's not a thing. Don't let anyone tell you so. Cell highlighting, where I'm just taking a lighter color and kind of drawing it on the top there from the light, which in this case is mostly coming above, a little bit to the right. And I think we're just about wrapping up here. I hope that you all enjoyed this little experiment in recostuming. It was a lot of fun for me. I always really enjoy, the costuming portion of cartooning. So tell me what you think about this new costume in the comments. Leave this video a like. You can tell me if you think it's very dumb. That's fine. Most things I do are. And when you're done watching this video, you can go and check out my webcomics. If you like my work, you like my wit. This is the Life and the Witch Child Slave. I also have a Facebook and a Twitter where I post a lot of irreverent artworks and announcements for new projects and new videos. You can follow them if you want to keep up with me. And I think that's just about it for the first episode of Recostume. Thank you very much for watching. This is Goblins, signing off.